part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome to another edition of the Reg Iron Rota podcast, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park right here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Shout out to our esteemed producer, Jordan Powell, who makes sure everything sounds good for you out there in the podcastosphere. And a big shout out to our title sponsor, Northfield Park. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of live harness racing every Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday evening with a 6 p.m. post. Wager and win daily on top thoroughbred and harness tracks from around the world with action starting around noon. Plus, you can enter to play the free handicapping contest every Sunday for a chance to win cash. The top prize is $500. Registration begins at 11 a.m. And you got to love this, free admission and free parking every day at Northfield Park. And Michael Regai, good to catch up with you once again, my friend. We've got a number of things we want to dive into in this edition of the R&R podcast. Jose Ramirez, a one-man wrecking crew for the Guardians. Thank God for that. Browns OTAs continue. You're heading out there tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
we're taping this on a Monday night, but we want to start with our first love, the game we love so much. The NBA Finals are set, and it's the Golden State Warriors, the 3 seed in the West, I believe, taking on the 2 seed in the East, the Boston Celtics. I guess the best way to start this, how surprised are you, Michael, that it's these two teams playing for the NBA championship this year?
Not surprised at all, Roadman. I mean, to me, this is the best of the possible matchups, I think. Look, big admirer of Jimmy Butler, but come on now. Miami doesn't have offensively. They are extremely, extremely challenged beyond him. So before you tell me, Bam Adebayo, well, for every night he gets 18, the next 3 nights he gets a total of 10 and doesn't even look to get involved. So I think for the NBA's purposes, the best possible matchup. You can make a strong case, Ken, that these are the 2 best teams in the NBA. As we know, Golden State, they do things a little bit differently with that free flow, free form offense, man, with the ball moving all over the place. And yet the Boston Celtics are one of the top 3 defensive teams, Kenny, in the NBA. And I think some of their size may be able, we know Golden State's not a real big team. But I think some of Boston's size may and should be able to play a factor. But I like this matchup. I can't see it going any less than 6, could probably go 7. And, Kenny, the Boston Celtics just won 3 of their 4 games on the road in Miami. So, I don't think that phases them in any regard, shape, fashion, or form going on the road. So if they can win a couple of games in San Francisco, I think we may be crowning them champions in a couple of weeks.
All right, Reg, you and I are going to disagree in a big, big way on this one. I don't see it going more than 5 games. I look at the championship DNA and that free-flowing offense and the ability to score from so many different people on that Warriors offense, their ability to play defense. People don't give them the credit for being one of the top 5 defensive teams in the NBA. The head coaching experience with Steve Kerr and his staff. I just don't see Boston in their first finals giving the Warriors more than the max. I think it would go is 6, but I'm going to call Warriors 4-1. I see the Warriors winning the first 2 games. They'll take Boston lightly, I think, for 1 game like they always seem to do, and then they bounce back and wrap things up. I see, if I were to bet in Vegas, and right now I would bet $100 to win 500. Warriors winning 5 is my call on this. And one of the reasons why, Reg, I mentioned that championship DNA, the Warriors with 123 NBA Finals games experience. The Boston Celtics have the same amount as you and I do, and that would be 0 in NBA Finals experience. So I see Golden State. As long as they stay healthy and nobody gets hurt, I don't see them losing in more than 6, but I'm picking them in 5.
All right. No, listen, I understand that. This is a very experienced and a very connected operation. The Golden State Warriors, I have a lot of respect for them, no question about it. A couple of guys, kind of get under your skin a little bit once in a while, I suppose. But you probably have that on every team. There's probably those that say that about the Boston Celtics too. So I hope it goes 6 or 7. Yes, Golden State. Or when you said 100 to win 500, that must mean in the specific amount of games.
Yes.
Okay, because Golden State is the favorite in the series.
Correct.
I think the last time I looked, you got to put up, I think, 140 to win 100 on Golden State.
It's increased, Reg. It's 155 now to win 100. Yes, it went up to 155 now to win 100.
155.
Yep.
And if you put up 100 on Boston as the dog, 130 or 135, it'll bring you back. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. See, so I mean, the betting favorite is going to be Golden State. I think we're going to get a real strong series. And again, I just mentioned, like they did in Miami. I mean, here's Boston won 3 of the 4 games on the road in this Eastern Conference final. Can they win? If they can win 2 games in San Francisco, I think that they'll be crowned champions and win this series. But Kenny, I got it going 6 or 7. I would, again, I'm going to slightly favor the Golden State Warriors to win it all. But if Boston beat them, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
I look at this Warriors team, Reg, and I just see, this is their 6th trip to the NBA Finals in the last 8 years.
That's about as impressive as it gets.
Unless you're LeBron James and you argue I went to 8 straight finals between 2 teams, Miami and Cleveland, but I only won 3 of them, right?
Very impressive to be sure, yeah.
But I love the way they are built. I love their ability to change as the years go by. It's the same core of Steph, Clay, and Draymond, right? But they've added different pieces, parts around it. It was KD who helped them win 2 championships. Now they've got Andrew Wiggins in his role there, and he emerged as an all-star this year. They drafted Jordan Poole late, and this guy comes off the bench and can drop 30. He started for Steph early in the playoffs and went 30, 29, and 28 in his first 3 playoff games.
Yeah,
Looney gives them some size, not a lot to go along with Draymond Green in the middle. And I just think Steve Kerr and his experience in these situations is amazing. And Reg, when I look at what they do and what they've done, they've got 2 guys right now on the bench that would be starting for a lot of teams. 3 guys, if you count Jordan Poole, that would be starting for a lot of teams. And these are the future players of for the Warriors. Talking about Jonathan Kuminga, who I love, that came out in this draft. He's coming off the bench. He's going to be a stud. Wiseman, when he's healthy, a center that's going to be a starter, I think, for this team. And I mentioned Jordan Poole. They develop guys better.
They really do.
Than any team since the San Antonio Spurs made their run over 20 years.
I'm with you. There's no doubt about that. Their development, their player development is superb. And Steve Kerr and his coaching staff get a lot of credit for that. Draymond Green is willing to play the villain, right, when necessary. He's the guy that if you're anything but Golden State, you probably can't stand for the way he plays because, he's going to be very physical and villainous, as I said, not afraid to knock folks down if he has to,
right?
Much like in a football game. That's Draymond, and he plays that role wonderfully well. I just think that if I've been really impressed with Boston, of course, Tatum and Green. And at times, Marcus Smart gets a little bit too carried away, but overall, he's a hell of a tough defensive competitor.
He's the guy that I don't think will be able to deliver in clutch time offensively, and he's going to have to. If you watch that game the other night, the only reason Miami had a chance on a Butler three-point attempt on the fast break was Marcus Smart took the last 5 shots on offense in 5 different possessions.
That can't happen.
Jacked up 3 balls with 10 seconds left on the shot clock. He flops more than Anderson Varejao does on offense and defense. How he won the Defensive Player of the Year award is beyond me because of the flopping that he does. So he to me, he does not live up to his namesake, smart as in basketball player, okay? He does dumb things on the basketball court. And I just can't see him rising up when the game's on the line, when it matters most on the biggest stage. This isn't a regular season now. This isn't the first or second round of the playoffs. This is the NBA Finals. And I think Brown and Tatum will have their moments. I just don't believe in Marcus Smart enough. And I don't believe White coming off the bench is going to play as well as he did against Miami against these Warriors. So
how about the two Williams?
I like the defense. Is it Robert, right? The center?
Robert.
I like his defense, but how much of a factor is he going to be when Clay, Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, and whoever else are jacking up triples from beyond the arc, right? I just don't think – I think that takes his defense out of the game because the floor is going to be so spread. He's going to be pulled away from the basket, and when they do the backdoor cuts – I don't know if he'll be in position to reject them or challenge them. So that's why I'm not sold on the side. I think this will be just like the play-in tournament was a good learning experience for the Cavaliers. This will be a great learning experience for the Boston Celtics, who have never been to the finals before with this group.
Okay, so I want to tie this in. You just mentioned it with the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference.
All right.
From what you've seen. Now, again, we got to see whom the Cavaliers draft.
Right.
Are they going to potentially make any moves? I don't see much happening free agency-wise. I don't know if you feel differently. I don't. But let's tie this in with what you saw from the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
Right? Obviously, the Boston Celtics, Eastern Conference champions. I'm not, we've talked about this enough. I'm a Brooklyn Nets, I don't know. Let's just leave it with Milwaukee and Boston for right now. Can the Cavaliers potentially make enough strides, Kenny, that you could see them in this situation next year? I won't say them, but at least play for the Eastern Conference Finals. How about if we start there? They, as they're composed right now, and again, they probably got a draft pick. They got a draft pick coming up. We know that. Are they composed in a position to be able to take out Boston and Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference?
No, and I'll give you a hell no after watching these playoffs. Their perimeter game is light years away from where it needs to be to contend in the East and the West. If they do not add a veteran wing player, either a 2 or a 3, they will not play for the Eastern Conference Finals. They may make the playoffs next year, but I don't think they'll play in the Eastern Conference Finals. My saying, and I still haven't heard back from Mike Ganzi. Surprised by that. The assistant GM, I texted Mike, and I texted him 3 words: deal for Beal. I want Bradley Beal on this team. I want them to put that package of let's see, Colin Sexton, number 1 draft pick, Markkanen, whatever. Put something together to Washington and go get Beal to be that backcourt mate with Darius Garland. I think he gives you a chance maybe to go further, or somebody else that we're not thinking about. That's a 3. That's a 3. 3-and-D guy, a wing guy that can stroke it from distance. I think that's their biggest weakness.
A guy like Javonte Murray, someone like that. Kenny, here's my thing, though, that I think that we wrap this segment up with it, though. But the one thing, and you want to pay, the word is what? Colin Sexton wants somewhere in that $16 to $18 million a year range. Kenny, here's my thing. And this is not, and I started saying this during the Cavaliers playoffs. You know that, because I wanted us to discuss it. Ken, no matter how you think of Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, they're both 6'1", Ken.
Yep.
You can't win in the NBA if those two are your main guys. I'm sorry. No, show me how, where. This isn't the 1980s NBA. You know, you can't do that. There will be so many defensive mismatches, Ken. You know that. Yep. That are absolutely, they'll destroy those two on certain nights just because they're 6'1". And that's just the way it is. So I guess my point is, while I like both of them very much individually, I cannot see that franchise winning big, Ken, if your two top guards are both 6'1" in this day and age of the NBA.
I'm with you 100%, Reg, and that's why I want to package Colin Sexton for that 2-3 player, that wing, that athletic 3 defensive guy. Isaac Okoro, horrible draft pick. I didn't like it when it happened. I throw him in. Hopefully somebody wants him and they think they can, turn him into something. I would package him with Sexton in a sign and trade with a Markkanen. I'm willing to throw in Jared Allen, Reg, because I don't think you can win. Yes, I don't think you can win in this game. In today's game with Jared Allen and Mobley on the same team. Yes. I don't think
almost just happen. A different position that I'm kind of saying about Sexton and Garland together.
Right.
Just a different position grouping.
Yeah.
All right. So, I can see where you're going with that.
I would package Allen and Sexton in a future pick to get me that. It's got to be an all-star caliber play in return, Reg. Okay. I'm not just, So if I'm giving an all-star in Jared Allen, and a 24 points per game scorer 2 years ago, and Sexton up in a deal along with a future first round pick, then what? I need me a starter that's an all-star caliber guy. And I'm not sure who that guy is. If it's not Bradley Beal, is it a sign and trade with the Bulls for Zach LaVine? Is he that guy? I'm not sure he is.
Not for that much.
Yeah. Beal, I'm willing to give that up. Now, here's the thing, though.
I'm with you there.
If you deal for Beal, you're going to have to sign him to about a $50 million a year extension.
It'll cost you. Yes, sir. It's going to cost you many years and many million.
Now, having said that, if you combine what Jared Allen is making, right, and what Colin Sexton wants, that's about $40 million right there, okay? Mm-hmm. So you're in the neighborhood, except you're not paying 2 guys, you're paying 1 guy. And I'm willing to do that. We'll see if the Cavaliers are. It'll be interesting because whoever they draft, Reg, even if it's Abaji from Kansas and he's a 4-year Letterman, 22 years old.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he's not going to help you right away challenge in the Eastern Conference Finals,
probably
right?
Not. I would hope, though, he could come in and give you more than Isaac Okoro gives you as the 5th overall pick in the draft away.
I agree with you 100%.
I'd expect that from Abaji.
Yep, I agree with you there 100%. So we'll see who they pick, but they need, in watching these playoffs, they need wing help. The bigs, it's not about it ain't all about the bigs anymore, Coach Luke. It was nice. Those 3 guys when they started the season, right? Yeah. And teams had to adjust to it. And yes, there were injuries and whatnot, but still, I don't think you can play Markkanen, Mobley, and Allen on a regular basis and challenge in the Eastern Conference.
Agreed. So now we got 2 position groups.
Yeah.
You throw that front court out, and I'm telling you, as individually, as much as they both have already shown they're capable. So you got the front court. And as I said, I don't think you could play Garland and Sexton together 35 minutes a night for 80 games a year and expect to do anything of great significance. Not that they're not good players, too small together. You'd be better off starting Karis LeVert and bringing, if they stay that way, start LeVert at 6'6" and bring Sexton off the bench. Yeah, that would be, you almost have to.
I agree with it. Here's what I would do. All right. Just with the roster as is. Garland's my starter. LeVert's coming. He's starting at the shooting guard, even though he's not a great shooting guard, right?
He's more of a slasher.
Right. Ideally, he's a 3. he's a small forward with his pull-up game and slasher and some defense.
Small at 6'6", but But I get you. Okay, I'll work with you there.
But I'll go Levert at the 2, Markkanen at the 3. Then you got Mobley, right? Now, this is where, again, if I can trade Allen, I do it. But Mobley is going to be my 4 or my 5. The question is, who do I play at power forward if I go Mobley at the 5, which I think is his best position? Okay? That's just me. I think he's a 5. So that's where I'm waiting to see what they do. Who do they draft? Who do they go after in free agency? And do they make a big deal? I think they need to. So, but, Garland, LeVert.
Think they can entice a decent for a starting quality free agent to come here?
If they pay.
If they pay the money, I guess.
That's it. It's the only way. No. I think that's the only way somebody would come here is if that, and how much will they have? I don't know.
As in overpay.
Yes.
Overpay that individual.
Yes. So, we'll see. But right now, as they're constituted, if they don't make any trades and they keep the roster and keep Sexton, I don't see them challenging for the Eastern Conference. Could they be a playoff team instead of a play-in team next year then? Yes.
45 win.
Yeah.
Some 45, 37, something like that.
Yeah. That I
currently
could see.
Constituted. All right.
And by the way, not sure if you saw this, they added Luke Walton to the coaching staff today,
too. I did see that. Bringing Luke Walton back.
Yeah, J.B. Bickerstaff gets an assistant, a head coach with the Lakers and the Kings. Of course, won championships with the Lakers, played for the Cavaliers, won a championship as an assistant coach in Golden State. So there's a nice resume there, and I like that. Bringing him in to help because I thought J.B. down the stretch started great, but he faltered much like the team did down the stretch as a head coach.
Yeah, you and I discussed that a few times here on the pod. Yeah. So you have Golden State in 5, right?
If I were in
Boston
Vegas,
in 7.
Yeah, if I were in Vegas, I would bet Golden State to win. On the money line,
specifically 5, so you could get that plus money over top of your. Otherwise, you'd have to just picking Golden State to win.
Yes.
150 to win 100.
Let's see here. Yes, I'd bet 155 to win $100 just to win the series. I'd bet 100 to win 500 on them in 5 games.
Yes. Well, it's going then. Most of the money is coming in on Golden State, Kenny, because this is Tuesday, right? When I first looked at it Sunday night, Golden State, right after Boston beat Miami, Golden State was 135 to win 1. Okay. And now you're saying it's up to 155. So the Golden State money has started to come in and driven that money line up. If you want the Warriors.
Wonder if that's Mattress Mac dropping down millions of dollars on the Warriors. Come buy your stuff at my store and I'll cover my ass by betting on the Warriors.
That dude only bets millions, right? I wonder what if he said, what did he say? Somebody said, hey, Mac, put down a $10,000 bet. He's like, what do I waste my time on that for? Why would I want to do that?
I wipe my I wipe my nose with $10,000.
$10,000. It ain't even worth my time to walk up to the window with that.
Dude, he bets like, you know what? I just won $100 in a Survivor pool, that TV show Survivor. Nice. My girl Marianne won it all. I got all excited over $100. This guy bets millions.
Exactly. Like I said, he, 10, 20, 30. Waste my time with that. Don't talk to me about that.
That's too funny.
Unless it's 7 figures, he's not interested.
Right. I'll tell you what else I'd do. Because I'm looking at the number right now, a sweep by the Warriors, which I think is a possibility if they don't let up, if they can stay focused for 4 games and want to prove that they're the real deal. Plus 1,200 if you bet 100 on the Warriors.
There you go. I don't think that's got a chance in hell of happening, but. But I mean,
if I'm Mattress Mac, baby, I'm throwing down $1 million on that, right?
I will say 100 to win 1,200 with a team like that. That's enticing.
Yeah,
I just don't see it happening, but And
I'm going to make one other prediction on these finals.
Okay,
the one thing that is lacking on the resume of one Steph Curry is an NBA Finals MVP.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, Andre Iguodala in 2015.
How about that?
And then it was KD the 2 other years they beat the Cavaliers. Okay.
Right. Yep.
The one thing that's lacking on a very stellar Hall of Fame resume, regular season MVP twice, All-Star game MVP. He has not performed at his best in the NBA Finals to where he was named MVP. I think that changes this year. He's got fresh legs, as does Klay Thompson. Remember how that benefited Kyrie Irving playing only 33 regular season games the year they won the title? Fresh legs and the desire to do it. I'm giving the MVP to Steph Curry in these NBA Finals.
Yeah, I would say it's something that probably is certainly of great importance to him. I agree with you. I agree with you because he hasn't done that. And, you could make a case, although Durant in those 2 back-to-back years against the Cavaliers was their best player.
Yeah.
The Iguodala thing, that's kind of like, just one of those things that happen. Certainly not their best player on that team by a long shot, but had a hell of a final series.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think Curry's probably on a mission. I would agree with you on that for sure.
That's like Desmond Howard winning the MVP on that Packers team that had Brett Favre and all that talent because he had the kickoff return and special teams return. So
2 of them.
It happens, right? So
it happens. And that's the same thing, Iguodala. There's your Iguodala in 15. It happens.
And that's the other guy.
Off the bench and was great.
I don't know if he's playing. I haven't read about it yet, Reg.
Yeah.
But that's a guy that could be instrumental in this series if he's healthy for minutes in the fourth quarter against Tatum and Brown because of his defense. That's his specialty, right?
That's all pretty much. He's not much on the other end of the floor anymore.
Right. No. But you put him in there, you go offense, defense, you put him on who's ever hot, Tatum or Brown, because who did he guard down the stretch? He guarded LeBron. That's why he won the MVP that year.
That's right. Yep.
So if he was out this past year. So let's see where he's at. If he's healthy, I look for him to be a late game substitution for defense.
All right. Well, Rhoda's got Golden State in 5. I got Boston at 7. So we'll have some good conversation about that.
And guess what? I hate both teams, Reg. I can't stand either team.
I hate the
cockiness of the Warriors. I despise that cockiness. Draymond Green. Bill Laimbeer reincarnated, right?
Kind of.
Oh my gosh!
That's what I said. I said villainous, and he loves playing that.
He does. He plays up to it.
He loves it. He does. He'd rather that than shoot the ball. He'd rather go, jack somebody up and then lock them up defensively and put them on the ground a couple times, and like his best. What is it now? WCA, whatever the hell it is.
WWE,
wrestling moves. And, you're always going to get a couple of those from Draymond each game. So I think it should be a hell of a series. I think it's going to be fun.
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong. I'd like to see it go 7. It'll be more exciting, and I despise the Celtics. Anything Boston.
You don't like the Leprechaun?
Oh,
the Shamrock?
Twommy Brady, and the Celtics, and the Bruins. Tim Wakefield, you're wicked awesome. Your cousin from Boston. No, I hate the Celtics and anything that comes from Boston. You hate
Norm and all the group of Cheers too, don't you?
Hey there, Normie.
Cheers, Normie.
Hey there, Normie. Anything Boston. Really.
You just said it honestly, putting it all together. These are 2 teams, NBA teams, for various reasons, that unless you're a fan of either one of them, everybody loves to hate.
Yes.
Both of them. There's no doubt about that.
So enjoy hating the hell out of both the Celtics and the Warriors in this series. All right, we've gone long on that segment. So we'll come back. We're going to talk some Browns OTAs as you're heading out to check out the Brownies in Orta. And they have one more after this weekend.
Media can only they've got a few. But the media is only allowed 1 day a week, Ken. So tomorrow and then next Wednesday, and that's all the media will be able to see.
All right. So when we come back here on the R&R podcast, we'll talk some Browns, some Deshaun Watson, real sports with Brian Gumbel, another lawsuit to deal with that just came out today. All that when we return here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing Catch the excitement of live harness racing every Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday evening with a 6 p.m. post. Wager and win daily on top thoroughbred and harness tracks from around the world with action starting around noon. Plus, you can enter to play the free handicapping contest every Sunday for a chance to win cash. The top prize is $500. Registration begins at 11 a.m. And you got to love this, free admission and free parking every day at Northfield Park.
We are excited to announce that we are joining the Press Play Podcast Network. The Krypton Report podcast is dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl, and the planet Krypton. We discuss movies, TV, game, comics, and all things DC.
So join me, Tyler, with my co-host James and Jania.
So join us as we explore DC's multiverse.
Look for Krypton Report on all social media platforms.
What's good, everybody? My name is Taylor Vanderbilt, and I'm the host of the 440 College Basketball Podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network. On the 440, we talk about literally everything college basketball related. It could be women's, it could be men's, it could be recruiting, it could be the tournament. It does not matter. We cover it all. So check it out. Again, it's the 440 College Basketball Podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome back to the R&R Podcast, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park here on the Press Play Podcast Network. And Michael Regai, the Browns are always in season, no matter what day of the month it is. We can always talk Browns, and the organized team activities have been going on. Deshaun Watson has been there. He will be there from all reports that we're hearing again. Baker Mayfield will not be there, as that still is in limbo. And you're headed out to check out the OTAs this week. Yeah,
Kenny, I want to see a lot of things. This number one, this roster is getting a lot of accolades, as we know, from all around those that really press deep and cover the National Football League with regard to how complete it is, how very well stocked it is in all the right places. Of course, Kenny, number one, though, I want to see the comfortability level early on of Deshaun Watson with his offense. Got to take a look at Jacoby Brissett, too, when he's out there, because, Kenny, there's a hell of a good chance we're going to see Jacoby Brissett start, right, I don't know, 4 to 6 football games this year. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Kenny. But most notably, I want to see, and I know it's early, but, Deshaun Watson with Amari Cooper, and, Deshaun Watson with draftee David Bell, and with Donovan Peoples-Jones. And again, Hooper is gone now, Kenny. And how about, were you surprised at the commitment that Andrew Berry and the organization made to David Njoku a couple days ago?
I was shocked. I really was. I figured, you know what, play him out this year on the franchise contract, right? Franchise tender, and see what happens. And they go spend $56 million on the tight end. I was shocked by that. I'm not as much of a believer in him as they are, but I give them credit for dumping Hooper. Maybe they saw enough in Njoku last year, or what they want to do with Deshaun Watson. Maybe that fits into the thing. I don't know what it is, but I was flabbergasted by the contract they gave David Njoku.
I have to say I am leaning more with you on that with regard to making that kind of a commitment to Njoku. I don't know. And maybe, though, it's also a challenge in a sense by Andrew Berry and the ownership to tell Kevin Stefanski to get him more involved offensively. Okay. Right? I mean, that could be a part of it as well. We feel we've got, let's say, even a top 10 tight end in the league. We got rid of one that we gave maybe a bad contract to. So let's make sure Njoku really is heavily involved in this offensive structure. So we'll see if that becomes a case, Kenny. And, I mean, on the defensive side of the football, I mean, yeah, obviously you're not going to see too much at OTAs, but I think we both could agree, if we talked about a lot during the season, yeah, there's some areas you want to see improvement in defensively. I'd like to see the interior of that defensive line become a little bit more formidable, Ken. The linebacking core as well, okay. But there's certainly room for growth there, too, to help take over games and put opposing offenses, into the clinch, so to speak. So, yeah, those are the things I'm really looking at. But, of course, most notably, how do Watson and to a little bit lesser extent Brissett, show compatibility and show confidence and progression with this offense?
For me, Reg, defense is where I'm curious to see how things play out. They bring back Jadeveon Clowney, which I do like. I was surprised and shocked by the Njoku signing, so I'll question that one, but I won't question bringing back Jadeveon Clowney because they did it on their terms, not his, right? They bring him back at 1 year, $11 million, I think is the max he can get if he reaches all his incentive clauses and everything like that. He's opposite Myles Garrett. So I love that. Addition defensively. Anthony Walker's back. Does that knock my socks off? No, but it's the second year in the same defense for him, and they brought him back at their price, right? Yeah. Not his price. So the fact that the front office maybe got discounts on those two players makes up for the fact that they overspent, in my opinion, on David Njoku at the tight end position. I'm still a little concerned about the wide receiver position. I'd like to see if he's healthy, maybe a look at Will Fuller, who has a relationship with Deshaun Watson from his days with the Houston Texans. Okay.
Bring him in. Receiver guy, but I'm with you. Got to prove he could stay healthy.
That's the big thing, though. Last year signed a 1 year, I think $10 million deal with Miami and played 2 or 3 games, and that was
correct.
Yep. So maybe you get him on a discount price and bring him in to add some veteranship, if you will, to that receiving core to help out, Bell, the rookie that they picked up in the 3rd round. So I still look for this team to challenge in the division. Lamar Jackson's not going to OTAs. Lamar doesn't like not getting paid. He was talking in the 3rd person. Lamar, he was like, remember that Seinfeld episode with Jimmy? Jimmy's not happy. Jimmy doesn't like what's going on here. Well,
Lamar not happy.
Yeah, Lamar's not happy.
Didn't pay me. Not happy. Lamar didn't get Lamar money.
No, he did not. So, I think the Browns will challenge the Bengals and the Ravens for the division, and that's if Deshaun Watson can play 12 or more games. That's the number I'm putting it at, Reg. All right.
Okay. All right.
17 is the amount of games they'll play. Give me 12 out of the 17 for Deshaun Watson. And I think the Browns challenge for the championship. When we get into 11, 10, 9 games, then I don't know if it's going to happen for the Browns. And like we said before the break, teasing this, just came out today on, Tuesday, May 31st. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson facing a 23rd active civil lawsuit over alleged inappropriate sexual conduct. Another young lady that was watching the HBO Real Sports segment with Brian Gumbel saw what he said during the press conference and took offense to that. And so she's added her name now to the lawyer Busby's list of people in, suing him in the civil suits. Yeah. So now it's up to 23. And so something's going to happen from the NFL. He's if he thinks he's getting away with no suspension whatsoever, then he's not getting good advice, whether he's completely innocent or not, in the public eye, court of public opinion, as well as the NFL's investigation, I can't see them just slapping him on the wrist, fining him, and that's it. There's going to be a suspension. It's just a matter of how many games it's going to be.
Yeah, that's right. And as all of that came out on the HBO Real Sports episode with Brian Gumbel, Kenny, I thought maybe there was a chance that the NFL might, consider, because, he was not charged. Right. Deshaun Watson, with any type of, physical violence against women, sexual violence, sexual misconduct. So I thought maybe there was a shot that it could get kicked into 2023. I don't feel that way anymore, Kenny. I think the NFL has been put in a position by all of this. On Park Avenue in New York City, they are wringing their hands, and they don't like anything about this.
Right.
Because it's given them a huge black mark. And, it's not something that I think now the suspension is going to come out this year. I think it could go as much as 6 games, Ken. Okay. And if I were the Browns, you know what? And if you look big picture at this thing and the possibilities that, you know what, I would take that and try to get it cleaned up and put this to bed and put this to rest, do the 6 games to start the season. We've talked about, when we did the schedule game a couple of weeks ago, I don't see, hey, who knows, one bounce of the football could change NFL games like that in a second. However, I still think the Browns should be able to go 3-3 in those first 6. And I mean that. I think they should be able to go 3-3, and that's what Jacoby Brissett, quarterback in his football team. So if that's what the penalties from the NFL turn out to be, I would just roll with that if I were Mr. Watson and the Browns and just call it a day.
The way I would approach, if they say the suspension is 6, if I'm Watson, I'm going to appeal, hoping to get at least a game knocked off of that, Reg, right? Question,
you can do that.
The question I would have is, okay, is this it no matter what else happens, or am I still subject to future games being suspended based on information that comes out next year after the season if we push these, civil cases into 2023?
Right.
And
that's where it gets damn tricky.
It does. Yeah. Because if I were him and his lawyer, here's what I would do. I would say, look, all right, so you're telling, let's just say it's 6 games. You're telling me I'm getting suspended for 6 games. There's no criminal charges against me. And if there are no more, criminal charges filed and I have to, stand up to those, right? Mm-hmm. If I am not found guilty in the criminal sense, then I want it in writing that these 6 games will be the only 6 games that I'm suspended, regardless of how many more women maybe file a civil suit against him. In other words, okay, I'll drop my appeal at 6 if you give me that in writing and we move forward. So we'll see how that plays out. There's part of me that doesn't believe him, that he's guilty for something, Reg, from everything I've read and things that I've seen and heard now. And then there are other parts of me that wonder, all right, well, technically maybe he didn't do anything wrong. And so is that going to be the get out of jail free card, I guess, based on technicalities in that, and the fact that there is no hardcore evidence. Don't get me wrong, people listening. Oh, you're standing up for Deshaun. No, I'm not. I'm not standing up for Deshaun Watson at all. I'm just saying that there's no smoking gun, right? There's no audio. There's no video. There's no, we heard about the towels and everything. And and there's no DNA of him, if you get my drift, on those towels, right? That could be used as evidence in a court of law. So if there's no hardcore evidence, that's why I think the criminal cases were dropped, Reg, because it's a he said, she said. And in this case, it's 23 she saids and 1 he said. So,
that's right.
we'll see how this plays. And he sounds like he's not going to settle. And I think Busby that's what Busby's hoping for right now. I think Busby's hoping, let's keep adding more to this and put the pressure on that, and maybe he'll cave. And it sounds like Deshaun Watson isn't going to cave, but that could change.
Yeah, it could, but there's no sign right now that that is even remotely going to be the case with Deshaun Watson. So, again, you just laid it out pretty well. If the NFL says, 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, and this is it, that regardless of what comes out futuristically here, this is like, putting this thing to bed, regardless of what may happen, that there's not going to be any additions to this going forward. Like I said, then if I'm Watson and his representation and the Browns, I'm saying let's do this and get this over and done.
All right, Red.
Let's the perspective from the NFL.
I hear you. And there are reports, various NFL insiders reporting that the Browns should know before they start training camp the end of July. And let's see if that's the case. Okay. All right, let's get a break in right now. When we come back, we're going to talk Jose Ramirez. Where would the Guardians be if it wasn't for Jose Ramirez and his .299 batting average, 13 home runs, and 51 RBIs through the first 45 games? We're going to talk the significance of Jose Ramirez, where he stacks up maybe against some of the great Indians / Guardians hitters, if you will, over the last 25 years. And both of us, Michael Regai and yours truly, have had an up-close look at a lot of those players covering the team. And Michael, doing some Indians work and Orioles work covering throughout Major League Baseball. We'll give you our thoughts on where Jose Ramirez ranks when we return to the R&R podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network.
For the Dennis Maniloff Show, I'll tap into my 40-plus years of following Cleveland sports and 30-plus years of writing and talking about them, so as to bring you informed opinions and analysis of your favorite players and teams. I also will monitor the national sports scene and, when warranted, step out of the toy department and into the real world. And I'll always be on the lookout for special guests. By all means, join us.
What's up, everyone? Chase Smith here, host of the Chase Smith Podcast, and my podcast reflects who I am. My hobbies, my interests, my passions, my curiosities, my careers, my questions, and my family. I'll spend time talking about all types of sports, movies, TV shows, trending news stories, and other cultural events, and even faith. This is who I am, and I hope I can get to know you as well. Join me on the Chase Smith Podcast, and let's have some thought-provoking conversations, only on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, this is Mike Voorhees.
And I'm Brian Shaw. No, not the pitcher. We're the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast, formerly a Swingin' a Tribe.
Don't have time to watch 162 games of baseball? We do. We have you covered with recaps of the games, stats, and analysis throughout the MLB season.
Subscribe now to Guardians of the Land and Press Play Pods for all your Cleveland sports analysis.
And welcome back to the R&R podcast, rocking and rolling along here on the Press Play Podcast Network. And a shout out to Brent Reitz and everybody there at MGM Northfield Park for being our title sponsor. Once again, you're going to check some musical acts out at the MGM, huh?
On Friday night. So hope to see a lot of you out there. And, we'll get on the track and take a look at all the ponies too, Kenny. But yes, Brent Reach, outstanding. And we thank him very much for all of his support of our R&R podcast and for taking care of me and Patty Harkin on Friday night.
All right, enjoy that, Reg. You have to tell me how the concert was, and maybe you'll be able to, on the ponies there, on the trotters, you'll be able to win some money and be like Jose Ramirez, cash in big time. And the Indians, you talk about getting bang for their buck. My goodness, Jose Ramirez. How about these stats, Reg? Jose Ramirez has accounted so far for 26% of the team's RBIs and 33% of the team's home runs through the first 45 games. He's hitting .299, 13 homers, 51 RBIs for the 21-24 Guardians. I hope I didn't jinx them. The game isn't officially over as we're taping this, but they are. No, did they win?
They got the win on Tuesday night. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about tonight. Okay, you're right. Yeah, it is final now against the crappy Roy. Thank God for the AL Central, as the Guardians are 11-7 now in the Central and 10-17 outside the AL Central. And so a crappy division. Jose Ramirez keeps them close to 500. Question to you, Michael Regai, is how good is Jose Ramirez as a hitter as we look back over the years that you and I have covered this team with some very, very impressive right-handed hitters, switch hitters, left-handed hitters?
Jose Ramirez is one of the most productive hitters that Major League Baseball has, Kenny. He's a switch hitter, as we know. But to me now, the two top hitters over the course of, let's say, the last, I don't know, you want to go back to the 80s? To me, the two top hitters, though, that this organization has had are unquestionably Albert Bell and Manny Ramirez.
Right.
I can't quite put Jose there with either of them.
Okay.
But right now in this game, Kenny, Major League Baseball today, he is as productive and as strong a run producer in the middle of a lineup as anybody that you can have. And, Kenny, I mean, Jose, he's not the type, and that's cool, because he's probably always going to hit 270. What's he hit? I think he's hit 300 and above twice in his Indians career. Now, for example, if you're asking me who was a better pure hitter when they were teammates, Michael Brantley was a better pure hitter than Jose Ramirez. Always hit 25, 30, 35 points higher. In fact, there's only, Kenny Brantley, only a 299 average, okay, is keeping him away from having 7 consecutive 300 years.
Wow.
In Major League Baseball. So to me, a little bit more the classic old school pure hitter. But again, if you're asking me where the only ones I'll take ahead of Ramirez are Albert Bell and Manny Ramirez as Indian hitters who were just out of this world RBI machine, productive home run guys, Ken.
And I agree. I agree 100% with you, Reg. I saw the Guardians sent out this post, or actually it was Bally Sports Cleveland sent this post out on social media. 50-plus RBIs in the first 44 games. 2 players in franchise history have done that. Their last names are both Ramirez. Manny in 1999 and Jose here in 2022. And if memory serves me correct, that might have been the year that Manny went like 333, 39, and 165 as far as RBIs go, right?
Yep. And Albert was 52, a buck 50.
Yes.
In the RBIs.
Yeah.
Right?
So more power from Albert and Manny, thus more RBIs. Yes. But in today's day and age, with the game the way it's played, he's been a top 3 MVP guy in 3 of the last 4 seasons, whatever it's been.
Right.
Jose Ramirez. I go Manny 1, Albert 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Lindor guy, but let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
It was Jose in the MVP race, not Francisco Lindor for how many years, right?
And I know it was only 4 years here, but for me, before Lindor is Roberto Alomar.
Right.
As an Indian, okay? But again, let's focus. Jose Ramirez is as strong, as productive as any middle of the order hitter in Major League Baseball currently.
Today.
And that's, to me, that's high praise for a guy. And he's doing it on a team that isn't a 500 team. And you could say, I will say this, he's nowhere near the amount of protection and added bats around him that Bell, Ramirez, Alomar, Tomey had. We go on and on. Whoever you want to throw in there, those four probably or most would. That ain't nowhere. Ramirez Jose has nowhere near the amount of lineup protection as those four dudes had as Indians. Nowhere near.
Hey, Rich. Jose can hit. He can hit. He's good.
Thank you, Charlie.
Hey, Reg, he's a switch hitter too.
I know.
So he can rake from both sides of the plate. And I love that about him. And in today's game, that's a huge plus. His best year in Cleveland, though, Reg, 270, 39 bombs, 105 RBIs in 2018. Yeah. Manny's best year, 333, 44, 165. How about this? And by the way, happy belated birthday. Manuel Ramirez turned 50 yesterday. Can you believe that? He's 50 years old.
Yep. I bet he could still go out and hit a bomb.
Give me Julio, Franco, and Manny right now, and I'll take them over two guys that are in the Guardians lineup tonight. Okay? I will. Give me Julio.
I love Julio too.
Yeah, I'll take both those guys right now.
To Cleveland, Kenny, in 1983 at Channel 5. Julio was the man. He was 21 years old and wrapped that stick high around his head, man, and he would do nothing but rip line drives. Loved Julio Franco here.
Loved him too, Reg. And so give me those. But Manny, how about this 6-year stretch for the Indians from 95 to 2000? I went and did this today because of which Ramirez would you rather have? I'm a Manny guy, my favorite Indian player of all time.
Okay.
Over 6 years from 95 through 2000, he had 999 hits over those 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
He batted .319. This is the average now over those 6 years. Yeah. .319 average, 36 homers, 123 RBIs on average for six consecutive years.
On average.
How about that? That's phenomenal. The average.
Phenomenal.
It's ridiculous.
And that's and everybody thought that Manny Ramirez was this, big swinging right-handed hitter that didn't have a lot of discipline at the plate. Oh, no. Wrong. And see, that's the thing where Manny Ramirez, I think, has, and again, I'm not saying it's the be all end all, okay? Because Jose is, again, as productive as any middle of the order hitter in Major League Baseball right now. The thing is, though, is Jose about 275 career hitter. Manny Ramirez about 315 career hitter.
Yep.
There's your difference there. And listen, without him, Kenny, I'm still surprised. I get it. He's that kind of man, evidently, but I'm still surprised. And, in a very positive manner for the Cleveland baseball organization. But Kenny, I'm surprised he signed that contract. I really am. He cost him so. When you say that, and again, I'm not saying this negatively, but it's a fact. Come on. We're discussing what a productive middle of the one of the best in Major League Baseball. Come on. This guy would have gotten offers that far exceeded what he signed with the Cleveland Guardians organization.
But
there's no question about
that. Yeah, but the pressure that comes with it.
That's true.
He's comfortable, right? And, and I'll give you an example. And believe me, there's really no comparison. But if you're happy and you've got other things that are as important, if not more important, family, like me as a single dad and everything like that, no money in the world would have meant anything more to me than being with my son as a single father over the years. So you give up some things because you're comfortable where you're at, or there are other things that are more important to you. And for him, hey, like you said, he's going to be fine with what he's making, right? The money, he's set for a lifetime and his kids' lifetime and their kids' lifetime if they do it right. So could he have made $30 million a year easily on the open market? Easily. New York,
without
Boston,
doubt.
LA, without question.
But, maybe more than $30 million a year.
Maybe. But look at the pressure that Lindor was under last year and the awful year that he had going to a bigger. Now, he's had a better year so far this year. They're off to a great start. But Jose, he didn't want to have to deal with that. He's in an organization where he's been his entire life. He doesn't have to worry about learning English. He comes and goes as he pleases.
Yeah.
And so that to him was as important as the money.
I get you, man. All of that having been said, Kenny, I would love to have a one-on-one, man-to-man conversation with Jose Ramirez and ask him one thing.
What's that?
Forget about all that. Everything you just put that aside. I get it. Your comfortability. Do you believe this organization is going to put you and them in a position that you can win something of significance in the next 5 years? That's what I'd like Jose Ramirez to candidly answer for me, because I have questions about that, whether they can or not.
Okay. That's fair. Very fair. And maybe he and his agent know some. Well, no, his agent did. I guarantee you, Jose wanted to sign this contract. His agent didn't. He told his agent what to do, and God bless him for that. Hey, you're the one in charge, so you can tell your agent. Yeah.
And all that's great. I commend you. I applaud you. It's phenomenal. We don't see it. Forget just baseball, add football, hoops, and hockey to it too. We hardly see that ever in this day and age of professional sports. Again, do you feel you're going to play on a winning team at some point? Because, you need more than you, Jose, as good as you are.
Right.
You got to have more than you, my man. And that's the thing that I wonder. I'm not going, I'm not saying I don't think that Jose Ramirez cares about winning and winning of significance. But Ken, I would just, again, like to ask him, do you have the belief in the organization that you just signed with that you think you're going to, in the next 5 years, be able to play in a World Series? Or that this team will be in that kind of position to be able to play in a World Series? I'd love to get his response to that.
Maybe he knows the Dolans are going to sell sometime soon, and maybe there'll be an influx of money where they'll be able to bring in more talent. Who knows? Right. But it's a fair question to ask, because right now I'll give you my answer to that. No, if the Dolans remain as the owners, okay, no, they ain't going to win anything in the next 4 or 5 years if they continue to do business this way. No chance. Shane Bieber's got 1 or 2 years left of our arbitration eligible, right?
I think 2. 2
more after this season. So they haven't locked him up yet. They're going to, he ain't going to give them a discount like Jose did, because he knows he can go elsewhere and get paid big time, and they'll continue to try. So if they continue down this path of having bottom 5 payrolls, okay, and they're not willing to spend more, then no, Jose is going to be hitting well and being pretty good, as far as taking care of on a losing team or a team that doesn't have a chance to win the World Series.
That's the thing. And I'll just say, again, this is not a condemnation of him, because we don't know if that's true. But I am bringing that up because if that did happen, Ken, for the next 5-6 years, and Ramirez finishes out his time here in Cleveland without anything of importance on the team winning side.
Yeah.
Well, then our, questions, and he keeps signing contract. Questions are going to be, does he care about winning?
Well, here's the other thing, Reg, though, and I remember this with Ray Allen, and we'll wrap this up because we've gone long tonight, but a lot to talk about. Remember when the Cavaliers were in the hunt for Michael Redd, Ray Allen, Joe Johnson, and Larry Hughes, right?
That's correct.
And they had to settle on Larry Hughes, and that did not work out, okay? Ray Allen wanted to get paid, but he also knew by getting paid, he could get traded during that contract, and it actually happened, right? He ends up going to the Boston Celtics, but he got his money, got his max contract, and got his championship, and then went on to win another one, with the Miami Heat, right?
Right, yes.
Ramirez, even though he didn't get his, maximum deal, there's always the possibility they could trade him. And another team would love to get that contract for the production there. And if, in 2 years, they're playing under 500 ball consecutively, over 2 or 3 years, he could ask them to trade him, and he could go somewhere else and, get put on a winning team, and then maybe get a contract extension that way. So that's something that I always go back to that year. Cavs didn't want to trade for Joe Johnson because he wasn't a free agent. Michael Redd said no. Ray Allen said no. So they took the fourth option in Larry Hughes. Okay.
Right. Yes.
So, Jose signed his deal. He's got control in the contract. And if it doesn't work out, he can always ask to be traded. And you would think the Guardians would get a nice haul in return for a player of that caliber on a contract of that price. So that's the one way out, if you will. If he's expecting them to win and it doesn't happen, he can always ask, because the players control sports today more so than the agents, the owners, or the league anymore. You can always get your way out. That's the way I'm looking at it with him. So we'll see. Hopefully they do build a winner around him, but I'm not holding my breath on that. As long as the Dolans are the owners and they're operating under the belief and the plan that they are right now. So we'll see.
And that's very fair. So it's going to be up to this whole organization to prove all of this wrong, and under the Dolans directorship, and we'll see if we'll see. Well, bottom line, I'm going to play it out, play seasons out, and see if it's feasible.
Sell, get rid of the team, let somebody in that wants to play with the big boys. Spend some money and put a legitimate major league team on the field, not a minor league one now that we're rotating every other week with outfielders at the corners that are AA and AAA players. And we'll just leave it. We'll save that for the next episode of the R&R podcast.
Yet they didn't 4 years ago didn't want to pay Michael Brantley $15 million a year to keep hitting 300 for you.
Yep, that's when it all started. It's when it all started, Michael. That's when it all started, and they've gone downhill.
Egregious error. I said it when it happened. Egregious mistake, and
yeah. So, all right, Reg, that's going to do it for this edition of the R&R podcast. Great stuff. We'll keep an eye on the NBA Finals, the OTAs that you're going to check out with the Browns. We'll see where the Guardians are the next time we get together here on the Press Play Podcast Network. All right.
Sounds good, Road Man. We'll look forward to that.